Begin at the top of your mat in Tadasana or mountain pose. Cultivate a slow, steady breath and begin to lift the knees, thighs, and belly forward and up, softening the heart, broadening the collarbones, and lifting the crown of the head. On an inhalation, lift the arms actively overhead and press the palms together. On an exhalation, hinge at the hips and fold forward to Uttanasana or standing forward bend. Breathe length into the back of the legs from the heels to the sit bones. Inhale, pull the heart forward so you can spread the collarbones, coming up halfway. As you exhale, fold back down. Bend the knees, resting the palms flat on the mat, and step back to plank pose. Activate the legs by pressing both heels back. Lift the top of the thighs without lifting the hips, and shift the upper side ribs forward to engage the shoulders. Breathe deeply into the ribs and belly, drawing them back toward the spine. Exhale and engage the belly as you lift the hips up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Press each knuckle of the hand evenly into the mat and stretch the arms actively to create length in the spine. Press your thighs back and release the heels to the floor. Your body should be making an upside down V. Breathe slow and steady. On your next inhale, gently bring the knees to the floor, and exhale, bringing your hips onto your heels into Balasana or Child's Pose. Allow yourself to rest for a moment in Child's Pose, bringing your attention to your breath, and see if you can steady the length of your inhalations with the length of your exhalations. On your inhalation, press the palms into the mat and draw yourself up to your hands and knees. Exhale and tuck your toes under and lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Lengthen the spine, waist, and the backs of the legs. Breathe slow and steady. On your next inhalation, look forward and step your feet to your hands. On your exhalation, hinge at the hips and fold forward. Your next inhalation brings you all the way up to mountain pose. Exhale and press the palms together and draw them slowly down to rest in front of the heart. Repeating this vinyasa 3 to 6 times will help you build strength and stamina. A vinyasa is when you repeat a series of poses and each pose is connected by breath. If that vinyasa was too difficult, try this version that includes modifications of the same poses. Begin in Tadasana. Cultivate a slow, steady breath, drawing energy up the legs and into the belly. Inhale and sweep the arms actively up, bringing the palms together. Exhale, bend the knees, fold, and hinge at the hips into Uttanasana. Inhale, lift your heart and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold back down to the floor. Keep a deep bend in the knees so the hands can reach the mat. Step back to half plank with your knees on the floor for support. Create the sensation of lifting the tops of the thighs without lifting the hips. Engage the shoulders by expanding the collarbones and shifting the side ribs forward. Your body should be on a strong, even angle. Curl the toes under, press the palms evenly into the mat, and with bent knees, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Focus on bringing as much length to the spine as possible. Stretch the arms actively and draw the chest towards the thighs. On your next inhalation, gently come down to all fours and exhale back into Balasana or Child's Pose. Breathe slow and steady here, each inhale massaging the back with the breath, each exhale letting the hips soften and surrender towards the heels. Inhale back to table, curl the toes under, press the palms evenly to the mat, and with bent knees again, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here, pressing the floor away with the whole of each hand, lengthening the spine and waist back away from the hands. Look forward and take as many steps as you need to come to the top of your mat, and then exhale into forward bend, hinging at the hips with your knees nice and soft. Inhale and come up to standing with an open, strong back. Exhale the hands down to rest in front of the heart.